Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it is time for my thoughts on Volume 2 of Emma. This is for my Austen and August Emma read-along. The links to that are below, as well as the links to the questions for Volume 1, and if you missed my answers to Volume 1, you can find those here, but I am going to get into it. Oh, Frank. I promised we'd be talking about Frank in the last video. Look, people have tried to convince me that Frank Churchill has merit. I need to give him a less biased reading and come to appreciate him as they do, and that he's not such a bad guy. But you know what? No, I'm not a fan of Frank. I mean, you can try to convince me if you love Frank Churchill. Tell me so in the comments, tell me why, but I personally rank him among Austen's bad boys. I list him alongside Wickham and Willoughby, and I do not like him. In fact, I might like him less than I like Willoughby, at least. I don't know about Wickham. Now here's the thing, he doesn't do as bad of stuff necessarily, but everything he does really speaks to who he is, what he is at the core of his character, and it's something that I don't like. So if you're unfamiliar, Frank basically uses Emma to make his secret fiancé jealous. And yes, you can make the argument that he thinks Emma is in on it, or that he thinks her heart is untouchable and that she's just being playful and flirting with him. But the thing is, it's always kind of screwed up to do that. But for that time period especially, that could be really seriously damaging, and I don't think that he would have done any differently had he thought she actually was affected by his flirtations and his toying with her. I think he still would have done the same thing, because Frank has proven over and over again that he does what's in his best interests and what he wants to do at the moment, and he will make up a story to suit it, or he will manipulate people into thinking it's what they wanted or it's what needs to happen. I don't think that there are any qualms about that. I don't think that he has any guilt necessarily. He wants what he wants and he's gonna get it. He's a spoiled, pampered little brat. Which isn't to say that he doesn't have his own issues and that he maybe has learned this behavior because he's had to work around his upbringing, because for all of being spoiled and pampered, he also does, or seems to, if we can trust him, have somewhat of a tight leash. To get around that, he learns how to become very manipulative, and I don't like manipulators, I don't like liars. That's pretty much something that is guaranteed to put a lot of ticks against you in my book and make me distrust everything you say and everything you do. End of story. On top of the way that he toys with Emma and manipulates those around him, I also really don't like the way he treats Jane Fairfax, his secret fiancée. I don't like the way he tries to make her jealous, and I get that she is a very placid character and that he's trying to provoke some things from her and he wants her, again, to do what he wants. And I get that it's maybe even a desperate situation for him, but the fact is he is intentionally causing pain to the woman that he claims to love and using another woman whom he's potentially causing pain to do it. And that is just never gonna fly with me. So try to convince me if you'd like, but I wouldn't hold your breath. And on the subject of Jane Fairfax, I'm coming around slowly to Jane Fairfax. I will admit that much of my Austen reading life I have been very biased by Emma. I connect with Emma, I feel very Emma-like, and even though she's maybe not the most trustworthy person as far as being a judge of character, I probably shouldn't trust her as much as I do. I do. And so what she says about Jane Fairfax, the fact that she's a little bit hesitant with Jane Fairfax. Not everyone has to be gregarious, not everyone has to be demonstrative, and not everyone has to be Emma's friend. But there is just something about her, and I feel like I probably would have ended up feeling the same as Emma, and maybe it would be unjust, but I don't know that I'd be able to shake it. So I'm trying to come around to Jane Fairfax and understand the position she was in and how hard things were for her, and I do understand that. And I do give Emma credit for also trying to understand that and be a little warmer to her and give her a little leeway. Again, it just feels like her and Frank together, it's just a little duplicitous and it's just a little off, and if you give me a reason to distrust you, I very well may. Now, Mrs. Elton, on the other hand, I adore. Some of you out there are probably going, what? Let me explain. I love a good nemesis. I love a character that you're meant to hate, and Mrs. Elton is just a prime example of that. She's not so loathsome as, say, a Mrs. Norris, who is doing real damage by her treatment. She's not someone that makes my skin crawl or that I really want fate to catch up to and horrible things to happen to. She's more just so obnoxious and so full of herself and absurd. She's just a ridiculous character that is so very lifelike. That's one of the things that I love about Austen, is that she really does write annoyances very well. She writes those characters that you're like, I know this person, and they get under my skin. She's so good at that, and Mrs. Elton is like full. She is full on. You feel like you've met this person. She's just the worst, and you love to hate her. I really love when her and Emma butt heads. I love just when she gets put in her place. As a nemesis, Mrs. Elton does it for me. Emma in Volume 2 is a little bit in limbo, I would say. She's starting to maybe doubt her perceptions and her handle on things, but she's not quite completely ready to give in. She also has new distractions in the form of crushes and nemeses and, you know, just a general flurry of excitement around her. All these people coming and going and parties and balls and dinners and all of that. So I think she has her plans a little put on hold, not quite redirected yet. And it amuses me, but she's not quite growing yet, but she's ready to grow. Like the groundwork is being laid. She's got a couple more mistakes to make, and then she'll be, you know, ready to kind of have her worldview shifted and really look at things with a little less confirmation bias. I do understand how people could find her a little mean-spirited, especially where Jane Fairfax is concerned, and that will continue in Volume 3 a little bit. And I can see why that might start distancing people with Emma as a main character. It might make them dislike her a little bit more, but I still like her. She still amuses me. I write a lot of it off as youth and, well, good intentions, but yeah, in Volume 2 she's just not quite there. Knightley, I think, is the real character turnaround of Volume 2, because we're starting to really see, I mean, we've always had inklings that there's more to Knightley than just that slightly judgmental big brother thing that he's got going on, but he really starts to show his cards and also be a voice of reason / jealousy in Volume 2, and it makes for good fun. I like, for both Knightley and Emma, how steadfast they are in their characters and who they are. I like that Knightley is willing to be plain and just speak up and say, no, this is what's happening, this is not what's happening, this is what needs to be done. I do really like that about him, and I think we start to see more of that in Volume 2. And again, you're starting to feel that building set up for Volume 3, so all good stuff. My final thoughts. I think my favorite thing about Volume 2, other than the arrival of Mrs. Elton and Frank Churchill and all of the kinks that are thrown into the works, is probably all of the speculation and the rumors and the questions and the secrets that are flying around. There's a lot going on that's sort of bubbling under the surface in Volume 2, and you get this building sense that it's all about to boil over, and I always love that. In a book that's always been a character study, I think you really get to study the characters in Volume 2, which is something that I love. So, though it can lag at times, I love it. So that is what I think of Volume 2 of Emma. The questions for Volume 3 will be up very soon, so make sure you check the Austen and August schedule for those. If you're participating in the read-along or you want to, feel free to check out the discussion questions and get involved, or go on your own. Talk about whatever you want, you don't have to follow my questions. But that is all for my thoughts and for today's video. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching, and of course, happy reading! It's a bunch of geese going over.